short notice. The New Patriotic Party, as a responsible political party, deems it necessary to speak out on critical matters in our democratic journey, not only to expose the truth behind the National Democratic Congress deceptive politics, but also to assure the people of Ghana that we remain committed to progress, unity, prosperity of our nation. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, today we are going to have a discussion on three important issues. First of all, we are aware that His Excellency the President outdoored the well-publicized code of conduct for his appointees. Flowing from that, we've had some incidences. We'll be discussing that. And that will be the Sammy Gyamfi Agradaa scandal, and then also the A+ Attorney General scandal, and then other matters will also follow. Ladies and gentlemen, on Saturday, 10th May 2025, the National Communications Officer of the NDC, who is also the acting CEO of Gold Board, was seen in a widely circulated video doling out fresh United States dollars notes to a known controversial figure, Evangelist Patricia Odro, aka Nana Agradaa. The act, which has been condemned, and rightly so, by well-meaning Ghanaians and institutions, including international bodies and other CSOs, like the Transparency International, is a patent indiscretion which breaches several laws of the land, and more importantly, mocks and makes nonsensical the recently code of conduct by President Mahama. Among the several laws breached by the National Communications Officer and the acting CEO of Gold Board are the Foreign Exchange Act, the Anti-Money Laundering Act, and then also the Code of Conduct, which was outdoored by His Excellency the President just about a week ago, exactly a week ago. Among the several laws breached by Sammy Gyamfi are Section 3, 1, and 4 of the Foreign Exchange Act, Act 723, which prohibits a person engaging in the business of dealing in foreign exchange without a license issued under the Act. Dealing in foreign exchange under the Act includes the receipt or payment of foreign currency, which Sammy Gyamfi is seen to have been doing in the video. The law, in its letter and spirit, prohibits stacking of dollars as it maintains the Ghana cedi as the sole legal tender. The cedi is the sole legal tender. We don't have multiple legal tenders in Ghana. You would recall that the Bank of Ghana has over the years issued several notices cautioning that without an authorization from the Bank of Ghana, no person is permitted to advertise, price, pocket, receive, gift, make payment of goods and services in foreign exchange, including United States dollars. And this action by the Bank of Ghana is important because it helps in stabilizing our city. The penalty for such violation includes a fine or imprisonment up to 18 months. Exactly a week ago, President Mahama unveiled the code of conduct for his appointees, and the president is reported to have said that the code of conduct articulates the core values his administration expects from appointees. Please pay attention. The core values his administration expects from his appointees: integrity, honesty, impartiality, respect, decency, incorrigibility, competence, and professionalism. The president further stressed that all conduct must meet standards capable of withstanding closest public scrutiny. Section 1(2) of the code, Mr. Sammy Gyamfi is required to manage his personal affairs in a manner that withstands the closest public scrutiny. And under Section 1(3), he was to take responsible care to maintain the integrity and reputation of the office he holds. Unsurprisingly, Mr. Sammy Gyamfi, like an incorrigible child, has blatantly violated both obligations under the code, and the president must, in accordance with Section 6 of his pledge, at page 9 of the code, deal swiftly and decisively with Mr. Sammy Gyamfi. It's important. The president, it was well publicized. It received a lot of commendation from so many people. Now, a week or just less than a week, this happens where his own appointee is seen displaying opulence. We find ourselves in a very distressed situation. And yet, if you have your appointee who is doling out dollars, that is serious. And we call on the president. If the president is unable to act on this matter, then the code of conduct must be shredded. It's of no use. It's useless. If the president is unable to act on this matter, ladies and gentlemen, the irony of the present circumstance is that not only was Mr. Sammy Gyamfi a loud critic of Honorable Cecilia Dapaah for some months ago, but he was equally very critical of her ladyship, Justice Tokuno, few weeks ago because the Judicial Service paid for tickets in dollars, although this was the required currency transaction in such matters and also well situated within the travel policy of the Judicial Service. We say without fear of contradiction that in the absence of Mr. Sammy Gyamfi providing direct evidence of the source of funding, thousands of United States dollars found in his car, seen in the video widely circulated on social media, these funds are proceeds of unlawful or criminal enterprise by Mr. Sammy Gyamfi. Section 1 of the Anti-Money Laundering Act, Act 1044, makes the possession, concealment, conversion, disguise, or transfer that is or forms part of an unlawful activity an offense punishable by a term of imprisonment or up to 10 years. Do not forget that this is the same section, the same provision Mr. Sammy Gyamfi, the same provision he used in criticizing Madame Cecilia Dapaah, and he says that it was clear. This is the same provision. We call on the lawful establishment investigative agencies of state, the Office of the Special Prosecutor, and the Criminal Investigation Department, CID of Ghana Police, to investigate the activities of Mr. Sammy Gyamfi in his short tenure as acting chief executive officer. And again, you have been told that all appointees, including ministers, they have not even received their salary since they had the appointment. All of them. That is the information we have. To investigate the activities of Mr. Sammy Gyamfi in a short tenure as acting chief executive officer of both PMMMC and the Ghana Gold Board. These bodies must search all his houses, probe any properties acquired in his stay so far in government, and if possible, prosecute him for failure to show the source of huge sums of money found in his possession, out of which he gleefully sprayed some around. And we all saw the video. We all saw the video and how he counted the dollars as if it was a counting machine. Very, very fast. And afterwards, and you could saw where he even picked the money from. You could see that, yes, you have a lot of it stacked in there. And then how he gleefully was counting the money to Madam Agradaa. And then Madam Agradaa also, out of insufficient spirit, grabbed all. Obviously, she saw that there were a lot of dollars stuck in there. So that is how come she could again grab all the dollars. And this is a serious matter. We note that section 55(2) of Act 1044 stipulates that in a trial for an offense under the Act, an accused person, in this case, Mr. Sammy Gyamfi, may be presumed to have unlawfully acquired a property if the accused person is in possession of a property which the accused person cannot account for and which is disproportionate to a known source of income of the accused person. Note that he has not taken any salary since his appointment. So clearly, the money he doled out obviously is disproportionate to his income. We also call on the President to immediately interdict Mr. Sammy Gyamfi as an acting Chief Executive Officer of Ghana Gold Board. Or at least, he should interdict him pending the conduct of the investigation by the criminal investigative authorities of the state. We cannot but remember when huge sums of money, and this is the principle here, please let's pay attention. We cannot but remember that when huge sums of money was reported to have been stolen from the residence of Madam Cecilia Dapaah, a woman who had worked in high places for over 40 years before the incident, had been NP since 2001, as well as a deputy minister and also a minister. And she is married to a well-known rich architect and a consultant, well-known, with nearly 60 years experience in the profession. She was made to resign. This principle is cardinal. Under Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, a similar issue happened. Madam Cecilia Dapaah was made to resign immediately by the president. Investigations were duly conducted by the OSP against Madam Cecilia Dapaah and her husband. After what the OSP described as 7 months of extensive investigation and 4 months of collaborative investigation, it concluded that their investigation did not establish any evidence of corruption, corruption-related offenses, or procurement breaches against the suspect. We require the same standard to be applied here. Same standard to be applied here. And let me also say that Mr. Sammy Gyamfi again is on record on several TV programs during the Madam Cecilia Dapaah saga, and I quote him, "Once money is found in your custody and you cannot account for the money, and that money is disproportionate to your income, you shall be deemed to have committed the offense of money laundering." Madam Cecilia Dapaah resigned during the whole brouhaha, as I said, and again we require the same principle to be applied. Again, on the matter of Her Ladyship Chief Justice Tokuno, in an interview with Asempire FM Okusisen, he stated that the Chief Justice should be sacked for using state funds in dollars in her medium of exchange instead of the Ghana cedis, which is exactly the same act he engaged in last Saturday, per his own assertions, then it means he must be sacked. That is exactly what he said. And these are principles. And this is his own sword. And he must. He must be on his own sword. Even more ironical is the fact that Mr. Sammy Gyamfi presently heads the Gold Board. This is very important matter, and this is issue of governance, which is being touted by this government as being the backbone for the stabilization of the city through the maintenance of sufficient gold reserves. Do not forget that the establishment of the Gold Board, one of the arguments for the establishment of the Gold Board was to centralize all businesses, all dealings regarding gold, to stabilize the city. This argument was made widely. If Mr. Gyamfi, the CEO who is responsible for maintaining sufficient reserves to support, to help, and to prevent the depreciation of the city, to stabilize the city, possesses dollars in his daily routine. And we say daily routine because when you go for a funeral 1 week and you have dollars packed in your car, then the indications are that that is your modus operandi in terms of spending. That is how you spend. That is the money you use. Because if you are just going for 1 week and you have tens of thousands of dollars in your car. Mr. Sammy Gyamfi, again, then clearly he has no confidence in our city. And if you are superintending over an institution which, as part of its mandate, is to help stabilize the city, that is the only legal tender, and I've already mentioned that. And if you have the head who superintends over this institution doling out dollars instead of the city, then it means that the person or the CEO, acting CEO, lacks confidence in the Ghanaian city. And that is key. And that is the more reason why we are of the view, the New Patriotic Party, and I speak for the party, we are of the view that if he is unable to stand firm, if he is unable to defend the city, if he is unable to protect the city, and he will rather be displaying dollars, then it means he cannot superintend over the same institution seeking to stabilize the city with gold reserves. But let me also state on record that under the gold purchasing program of the New Patriotic Party, our gold reserves as a country, which stood at 8.7 tons, for the last 40 to 50 years grew to about 30.53 tons as at the fourth quarter of 2024. This program is one of the major reasons why we are seeing the appreciation of the city. Again, yesterday, the minority in parliament also had a press conference where they also mentioned the allowances, the salaries of Mr. Sammy Gyamfi, referencing the minority press conference yesterday. The state cannot be paying Mr. Gyamfi hefty salaries and allowances for him to be undermining the very currency which is at the heart of his mandate. The state provides the following for Mr. Gyamfi: a gross basic salary annually 1.5 million, subject to an annual review and upward adjustment of 15%. 1.5 million a year. Hold on, that is not the only amount. Hold on. Let's go step by step. Hold on. Clothing allowance of 15% of annual salary, payable once per annum by year end. So the 15 million I just mentioned, he is entitled to clothing allowance of 15% of his annual salary. So he's entitled to 15% of 1.5 million, which is supposed to be his clothing allowance. Hold on, travel with me, hold on. Provision of 2 security officers or 6,000 each officer as an equivalent. 1 gardener or 4,000 Ghana cedis as a cash equivalent. Full medical cover for him, his spouse, and up to 5 children. Provision of 2 cars with full maintenance and insurance. Fuel allocation of 1,005 liters of fuel monthly. Fuel allocation, do your own mathematics, 1,005 liters of fuel monthly for each official vehicle. The official vehicle may be sold to Mr. Gyamfi upon contract expiration or termination per the company's asset disposal policy. 30 working days of paid vacation annually. 30 working days of paid vacation annually, exclusive of public holidays. So anywhere in the world, if he decides to go to Bahamas, if he decides to go to wherever, if he decides to go there, the state is responsible to pay fully all the expenses for this vacation. Airfare up to $10,000 upon proof of per diem. Per diem of USD $2,000 a day. So if he travels for 30 days, it means he's going to receive $2,000 a day. For 7 days, payable in advance for annual familiarization tour. Business class travel tickets for official duties and $2,000 per diem per day of travel. Annual performance bonus subject to set targets and in accordance to the company's bonus policy. An unspecified CEO-related benefit shall be paid at the prevailing CEO's rate plus 20%. Personal accident and life insurance cover valued at 5 times the CEO's annual salary. Somebody said A. Let me repeat. Personal accident and life insurance cover valued at 5 times the CEO's annual salary. The annual salary is what? 1.5 million. It is palpable, unethical, and a complete betrayal of the public trust for Mr. Sammy Gyamfi to receive all these benefits on the back of helping maintaining a steady currency, yet fail to have any iota of confidence in the Ghana cedi to the extent of using United States dollars as his currency of daily use. Ladies and gentlemen, it may have escaped many observers of this unfortunate incident, but not only, and this is an important aspect, not only was Mr. Sammy Gyamfi giving out United States dollars without restraint, but Mr. Gyamfi also engaged in patent opulence on ostentation of just after 120 days in government, on the day in question, Mr. Gyamfi was being driven in a 2025 fully spec'd Range Rover autobiography valued at $350,000. Fresh, it was fresh Range Rover autobiography, fresh, tear rubber, fully spec'd autobiography, Range Rover, 2025 model, $350,000. The question that should engage the minds of well-meaning Ghanaians and how Mr. Sammy Gyamfi can afford all these things under 120 days of being in government, and if they are gifts, who are these persons gifting him, and what relationship do they have to his work as CEO? If within 120 days in office, appointees of Mr. Mahama have become culpable of such opulence and ostentation, then the years ahead will be indeed a telling story. Already, there is a loud cloud of corruption hanging around President Mahama's appointee, following the indictment of Dr. Ayene, his Attorney General, as involved in corrupt activities. Article 88 of the Constitution is very clear. And I'll come back again to Sammy. But just about some few weeks ago, the Attorney General was accused of being a thief and being a corrupt person. In his defense, he said that A+ is saying so because he went for some monies from a certain businessman called Dr. Sledge. And that is why A+ is saying so. Now, A+ comes back, says that no, that is not what I'm referring to. I am referring to the 500,000 Ghana cedis. He's specific. He has mentioned the amount. I am referring to the 500,000 Ghana cedis you went for. And the reason for this money was to go and bribe the appointment committee of parliament, because you were appearing before the appointment committee. Now, he goes on to say that he is a stupid fool and he will reset his mind. Again, when the Attorney General attempted to respond, he says that A+ should not go there, and if A+ wants us to play in the mud, in the dirt, he is prepared. He can dirty himself. He can play in the mud, because where he comes from, they have been playing in the mud. So as for mud, he's not afraid of mud. Who says we want our Attorney General to be playing in the mud? Who? Who said? And you see, that is why I brought this constitution. In fact, the only minister with an elaborate mandate captured in the constitution is the Attorney General. Article 88 is clear. And indulge me. There shall be an Attorney General of Ghana who shall be the Minister of State and the principal legal advisor to the government. The Attorney General shall discharge such other duties of legal nature as may be referred to or assigned to him by the President, or imposed on him by this Constitution or any other law. 3. The Attorney General shall be responsible for all the initiation and conduct, of all prosecutions of criminal offenses. All offenses prosecuted in the name of the Republic of Ghana shall be at the suit of the Attorney General or any other person authorized by him in accordance with any law. 5. The Attorney General shall be responsible for institution and conduct of all civil cases on behalf of the state, and all civil proceedings against the state shall be instituted against the Attorney General as a defendant. 6, and final. The Attorney General shall have audience in all courts in Ghana. So if you have your Attorney General who is unable to respond to such serious allegations, He's unable to respond to these allegations well, but then he says that, first of all, he's been advised to proceed to court, but then he will not do so because he's been given a mandate by the president. He wants to concentrate. I find that weird. Look, in your daily practice, you always go to court. If somebody says you are a thief, you are corrupt, you have gone for 500,000 Ghana cedis to bribe appointment committee so that you can sail through vetting. And the person says that you are a stupid fool and is going to reset your mind. And you are telling Ghanaians that you are not going to go to court. You will not proceed to court. Why? Because you are focusing on your work. Meanwhile, court is where you live, is where you sleep, is your home. So, is it not scary? Is it not scandalous that Attorney General says that a member of his own majority caucus, an MP, not just anybody like me and you, an MP says that you are a thief, you are corrupt, you have gone for 500,000 Ghana cedis, and all you can say is that you can play in the mud. As for you, you can swim in the mud. So A+ should bring it on. And then you are rather inviting us to ask A+ what he knows about the NSS scandal. What is our business? Is that supposed to be our business? You have the prosecutorial powers. You are the man in charge. And you are telling us to go and ask A+ what he knows about the NSS scandal. Look, this is below the belt. And as I've just read to you, for an Attorney General to be saying that I can play in the mat, and we are being told that A+ just apologized. So what now? It is going to be an apology spree. People commit offense, and they are told to apologize, and so now we are going to live in a nation of apology. Everything is apology. So A+ apologizes, and then Sammy also apologizes, and then we leave it there. No. It's important for us to hold these appointees to account for their actions. Attorney General, you cannot say that you want to play in the mud. We do not want an Attorney General to dirty himself. No, that is not what we want. And again, we expect His Excellency the President not to sweep this under the carpet. These are serious allegations. And all we see is that A+ goes back to pull down the post and is made to apologize, and that is it. Mr. President is being put to the test on his commitment to the very values he sought to espouse exactly a week ago when he outdoored the code of conduct. The entire world is waiting with bated breath on further actions by President Mahama, considering the actions of Mr. Sammy Gyamfi and the Attorney General, who says that I want to play in the mud, I want to dirty myself. We want to see some action from President Mahama. We call on the President to show leadership, to act swiftly, decisively, and not to give Mr. Gyamfi and the Attorney General a pat on their backs for this reckless conduct. It is crucial to underscore the necessity of adherence to governance practice in line with constitutional and legal provisions. And this is an issue I really want to raise with you, and follow me on this. That guide the conduct of public officers in Ghana. You recall that in 2017, former President Akufo-Addo, through the National Executive Committee of the New Patriotic Party, issued a directive mandating that all party officials who had been appointed to governmental positions by President Kufuor must resign from their political party roles in adherence to best practices in governance and accountability. So if you recall, even our current General Secretary, he was the then Ashanti Regional Youth Organizer. When he was appointed CEO, he resigned. A whole lot of ministers, Tutuko Afisa Jaba was the National Women Organizer. She also resigned. Mr. Mewu from Volta Region resigned. Of blessed memory, Honorable Ashiti, Greater Accra Minister, also resigned. Honorable Ajaisuwa as Mayor also resigned. The names, a lot, they resigned. Today, what do we see? It is important to note that a similar practice does not appear to have followed under the current National Democratic Congress. Several individuals, while holding influential governmental positions, continue to hold dual roles that may pose concern in terms of governance practice, legal stipulations, and ethical standards. Specifically, the following individuals remain in both political and public office, raising critical issues about potential conflict of interest and the need for compliance with relevant legal norms. The National Youth Organizer of the NDC, George Opare Ado, is a minister now. He's still the National Youth Organizer. Mr. Sammy Gyamfi is the National Communications Officer. He has not resigned. And he's still their communications officer. Basim Tali is still Deputy Communications, and Abisu, who is with the Minerals Investment Fund, is also still there. Osman Ayarega is also at post. Meanwhile, he's an NCA. Ruth Sedo is with the NSS. He's still holding on to his post. Mustafa Gbande is at the Office of the Presidency. He's still holding on to his post. Elikem Kotoko is now the Deputy CEO for Forestry Commission. Dr. Omane Buama, he's the Defense Minister. He was in charge of the elections. He's not resigned. I recall that even when I was elected as a National Youth Organizer, I resigned from Deputy Executive Director of NSS. Also, all regional and constituency executives who have been appointed into key government positions are still at post. You go to Ashanti Region, their regional secretary is the regional minister, he's still at post. You go to Eastern Region, I think the women organizer also was their women organizer, and today he's still at post. The retention of these dual roles by political appointees under the NDC administration raises significant legal concerns regarding the Constitution of Ghana, particularly Article 94, which disqualifies a person from being appointed a member of parliament or a public officer if they hold dual offices that are inconsistent with the principles of public service. Furthermore, Section 2, this is more important, Section 2 of the Public Services Act prohibits public officers from engaging in business or holding any other positions that might undermine their impartiality and efficiency in their official capacities. The continued holding of political appointments alongside public office positions undermines the principle of neutrality in public service. And these individuals remain bound by their party loyalties, which could affect their objectivity and ability to serve the state effectively. In the light of all these considerations, it is imperative for the government to reassess the position of individuals holding dual appointments and ensure that the requisite legal framework are strictly adhered to. The principle of separation of powers between political and public roles is not just a matter of legal compliance, but is central to maintaining public trust, ensuring the integrity of state institutions, and upholding the principles of good governance. We urge His Excellency the President to take immediate steps to rectify the situation by ensuring that all political party holders who have been appointed to public office, especially those holding political positions, comply with the relevant provisions, and also, as we said, because of good governance principles, they must resign. Now, and then at the teaching here, yes, Yawaha, Efa Amamu, and China Yura, Mahama, a day, Kratabaya, what to be a code of conduct. Code of conduct has to change, and say, a Krata, what could you send a beya, a year, almost our pounds on Beya Juma or Nabe. Omoti Ebeya Juma, Nama, Amamu, IFA. And in our to cry, and I who said the National Communications Officer of the NDC, and I be acting CEO both board. Wako a year say, no. When ye a year, Ronisi Capital the CB. Or dear Sammy Agradaa. Now, here's the current send an OC kind of baby in Agradaa, as I should yapping in Nasa. Now, near air, near air, one say. Sir, a young National Communications Officer of the Party of Science acting, both boards you. Here Mahama. And somewhere down go for no Kenyan say, and now there one some which media can a year branches and say, oh, you golden boy, Muntimia Monte, Muntimia Bibia, na a Casa Casapa. If I saw also social media, so I said, Ma, Moka. Nanso no, idea one year, idea, a shred. And yet, I'm not sure I've done a full film. And you know what cost so. Now we shall be on a gold board so. Now we eat Sika, those who poor dollars. Now, dear chain. I'm not she. And yet, your Ganambra, who code of conduct Nankasa, or the buyer, a woman in Tia. Say, Openi Mahama, I know who be beer. Ye try to say, a young code of conduct down the bar, and said, "I can't take it." And when you do, a bayan frama, or Casacake, I mean, this is a son of a person is economy. Nebiasipe. A year a branches a medium for ye. A bra, my Mrs. Ladapa, as and by a sea of music fee. A branch and a cancer, my million few. You are a proof one. Out of good governance, a memo, our person without fighting. Oma, Oba Penny, or Jimmy Juma Free, someone else on my resign. The year can say, now, Moby. Say, this are a band or Techia. Yes, you may young family day, young Faboba. Wait, say, is it there now? Obi a young Tianico. Na a nay or no. What do you mean, dollars do so poor? So, what shall I so far so you don't know what you say? Now, also, I share a bill car no team out the coil. Now, one I hear Mohammed Casa, or can be said. Now, point is, no, they should eschew opulence and ostentation. Ye change yan say akesesem say ye disi ka kire on person appointees ni be sa ene is a wo hwe car na ye wura Sammy Gyamfi Agradaa 2025 Range Rover autobiography fully spec $350,000 and a team no do ko ye keke. So what share ye Ghana Yamuramu? Or the Foreign Exchange Act, or the Anti-Money Laundering Act. The air can say a puntia. A beam some share, and you mark a sia. I can to your fly a dema near air, Yan said. A you go ya, ye can once a moon and you go what happened. The two may get a silver copa by a miatia, said, a baba so you see the name. Remember you sit now the edge now. Now, opinion on gold board. Now, all shall say you sit in the bench now. On GSC Dindy. And the dollars now all check. And this is a serious lack of confidence in our city. Just say, Wama, ye sikana ye dieno. Emu, jidie die, watono, asawra. Bune nimtia, onfanya bi. Ye siga ye dia. Enu ye sibra babo ho ban na nkene. Entimi nyina no. Wo ba wo de sig na ni monyam atwitwi fom. Enu ni ade ana wo so nyese se be wo ye obi akeke wo. Sammy go obi akeka and your phone can friend central food. And ye Ghana buying some share. And yet I get your crown almost see you trying canal. I know she. And yet after Mubiano or Beji 1.5 million Ghana cedis. 15 billion. And Obeji. Oh. We hear no free man and also crown. Yes, I to me too or how much you do. Edunum. Put me to after every 2 years beyond put me as a child. And Tadi Obesha, me no dear, shake, come and Tadi Obesha. On no dear, I buy a 15% of the annual salary. To your calculation now 150,000 Ghana cedis. The one is on phantom target. I said, what target show out of the same. Target show. And I get 150,000 and for more Pabranis on Phantom any shoes and share. The security for your jacka. You better do the guardian with your jacka. Sikasema ya came in a name, I kept you a canino. I won't catch a car at the hospital home. Nay, sick at the hospital, need to be beyond the man, noon, and yan in the Yeremun. Buying aside Alpha Honka petrol 1,005 liters. Your Honka on one community, how many gallons? 1,005 liters no air hammer, no one is a car. And some ya salmon car. Me no, I won't cheat. Asana, a year or Quahum GMO. So, person could be quoted in any kakra, or prayer, or Edma Bren or Pa, and also buy from Hunya, the business class man, the hotel Kaya Honka, the BBI, and some 2,000 a day per diem dollars. Oh, the bus is my I can't once at the man. The bus is my and $2,000 is 24,000. And not in a day. And not in a day. It's in your can say, a buyer show say. No, say, Puye, you see the name in Tiadia. Near yes, sir, Penny said, Nadaroma. Sabe. Sabia. Now, no, a sea, a year, your mamma, Mrs. Gadapa, and no crown. Oh, yes, the Jamudia Basama, no crown, one day, so, a sissy canon, 1 year. Or no, you'll be a year, Juma, and fear, dear 9. Nicolusy Capradi, at the same point, 1 year. Were you architect over 60 years of experience? 60 years, an international consultant. Obia Nimiso is one of the richest architects we have in Ghana. And I said, and they Obia Kotuska, no problem, you see. Anti-Money Laundering Act. Wafum Brown, and you know, unity. And they are resigning. It is in the sound now, Moby, and as I say, you see here, and they, it is only fair. Second, Poyera Mahama. Manin Saint Chanian family Mumra. Because the Antiana Brass on Gray into your Moka. And then the woman is Ayasa, Jumaki. Now, I get back one now. Ask a film school Jumadi now on the set. I chop again. I chop by a bar, or before one, more to watch and your phone number. Now, and one says, oh, from Rana was what I chop. Now, no, A plus na Attorney General. Attorney General, Baba Becca say, on the day, A plus ya only be a few more. Now, the Chemo brought in and it's no dear, or betting at the check the iron. Now, why they see Attorney General, they persuade the check at the check. And you're from when you need some person, you're Attorney General, on your attitude, on your film, on Tiffinian, what's your constitution, but you can't kind. Say, we're going to do again, Cassiapa. Or no, the young lawyer need penny, a Gina Homa Ghana buying. Or no, the lawyer need penny, Cassiapa now, Magana. That's a lawyer need penny, Cassia. Your car chose a walk. What was this? 500,000 at the Mudia. And the Baba the man appointment committee, Parliament. Send a mayor who will go to Parliament. And you see, Konako Samuti, Fako Court House, they record the other. I think the Ruben and Chow 20 and want to be ring treasure. They didn't want to go because if you are the plus call about what can I say? It was in the uncle. Now, some would be conforming Cocoto. Sir, I dear quite well, dear Bowie. Some way upon four. One of the session prayer general. What about this candy? A brand should be the phone. One soon would be conforming person on Cocoa, I also now say, what charge you for corruption? But one soon, yet you see, I told you. You are Muhammad said, 1 million, yes, I'm sure we are see Attorney General and I'm what? We are going to say, Attorney General, which I teach him, Attorney General, by a call for Attorney General, Attorney General, and the Kono, the Diabos, I call Sunset, Adria, you do one. And you also see a timid sign it. I was see a timid sign it. Me who be that, Saturday, Nano, Ubekaya. You're a boyfriend, I'm all. And now, NDC for coffee tape, you are one category, no, this is it. And almost see you're a boyfriend, dummy, and then Japan didn't come, and no common friend criminal. And I'm saying, and someone can be out, maybe I said your own. Who your phone, sir? Watch your son of phone was to say, Nipa, or Nipa say. It's who your phone, son, watch your son. Because I'm someone now who can hear most go for damage. And did not tell some music on me, will be a Casama. And they are Attorney General, or no, yes, why you come for. Yes, why you read. Yes, what Quaco Jack, they would get 500,000 Ghana cedis and the bread appointment committee in Parliament. What did you? On Fanny Panaco, non sign it, you'll see there because they have the call. No call and that you. Me wants to be a court now here. Oh, no, did you? Oh, no, that. I hope. They shall write your office who too now and where do High Court. Also want to be from the Panaco court. Now, who concentrate on you and the Panaco moving. What castle with you? The castle shall say, A plus in bed train, a dear will move for NSS. Or no name by train. Attorney General, I want to be near crowd. Gunning down to me from someone now, obedience on my way. Yang a young concubus A plus. Now, where from this pension for a day as a media trial? Now, the media for Bani can't somewhere any Attorney General, because we're going to move him. Attorney General and Casasa. Only more to make your constitution and Yadias. As someone swore, the judgment is so. One cannot send it here, Mamma. I should be a Cassian without me. One code of conduct, I would buy it. And you won't say, ye people. If you might never acquire when he said. And they NDC, a buy all my appointment debris. I will go mine. Now, you were on your NDC national officers, be a regional officers, you go to constituency officers. And then you are power moon about them. Nana other than Kufuado, they can send it to Mobakaya 2017. Nana other than Kufuado in consultation with the National Executive Committee of the party. And they ensured by say, Obibia, ya forward a human, our bang. Now say, Kura party the Breno, Jato. Obibia, Jato. And no idea one said, and Manipanunya, I dream pop. Emma, or the Nisi, a Juma or Yansuma in the a Buama, a Memopa, a dead. And Twaga, and they, Miami boss or a current general secretary, no, a central organizer. Obey why see you, not resign here. And the deputy Bashir, not resign here. Regional ministers are who will be young by now, honorable Architect, blessed or resigning from Itakra, British Sherman. I'm a wood, resigning here. Honorable Samacheme, resigning here. All over obiara resign here. Me, Ebra, you elected me as national youth organizer, and I'm your deputy executive director of NSS. I want to resign here. And then you come here and say, yet the NDC headquarters and I want to come. You are paying the Jubilee House. And it is dangerous for good governance. It's a over national youth organizer or no minister. Managing everyone, all resigning. The deputies in Nana Bako NYA, Osman Ayarega, Ruth, or NSS, Omodaso, Basintali, or Daso YE. You will occupy position in pain. Or you are resigning as regional youth organizer of Ashanti region. I don't know that's our post. You are Manama, or that's the director of elections. You are minister of defense. Over regions, Bebre. In fact, regional secretary, I know one of the region, one award, Alaji Loto, one award, Bebre, all over, Elikem Kotoko, Yaira Kuku, no your IT director, and then they will call NIA, Eric, only now position. What we are calling on the president to do is and they would the code of conduct for appointees about. Say ammonia impartial, and it's a conflict of interest. It's no our power woman a year up our man. Shall resign sending another damn for the year 2017. And ma, our point to me now and resigning. No more resigning, no more focusing on governance. It's ever say, Mahama, we no one. And my Ghana, the Queen. It's a necessary friend by her, attitude to your friend by. Yamin Shrub, Ogasati, come here.